Hello, everybody. This is Kyrix with another episode of This Week in Kyrix. This is for the week of Wednesday, February 28th, 2017. And of course, because it's me, it's actually being recorded on Thursday, March 1st. What did you expect? Anything other than consistency on this matter? Let me just, oh, there we go. Real quick, refamiliarize myself with how this damn thing plays. Okay, that's tasting pretty good, actually. Let's go with that. Okay, I am pretty sure I can fit a police department right here. Yeah, that looks good. Even though I don't necessarily need another one there. There we go. Perfect. Perfect. You know, because I love me some redundancy. There we go. Perfect. Okay, there's another one of those. That'll set up real nicely for what comes next. You know, in another year. So, let's talk my week. So, there's been Star Trek news. The next tournament, unless they change it again, I say again because last month's tournament was originally scheduled for a week earlier than it ended up being. They basically, 2 days before the tournament, they changed it to next week, you know. And I wasn't pleased about that, but it worked out because that gave me a chance to go there, get my Ferengi faction pack and my Ferengi card pack, and come in with a full Ferengi fleet. Which I wouldn't have been able to do if I'd done everything on time. Oh, there's pollution warning. Don't care. Anywho, oh, I remember. I think I was saving up for a new nuke. Actually, that is a nuke, isn't it? Yeah, take a look here. That wasn't what I thought it was. Pretty sure that is in fact a nuke plant. But I don't know. So yeah, this basically lets you see like, oh, this is a thing. Anyway, it looks like March 31st will be the air date, for lack of a better term, of the new tournament. That'll be fun. In which I will once again be breaking out my Ferengi because I just got them. I want to play with them. Especially since I came up with me and another guy came up with a nice, broken strategy for the Ferengi. Involving stealing a Riemann Warbird. Specifically the Scimitar. Rather than a generic. But I may have let slip, but told last week that I was getting some money from my former roommate John, who owed me for the computer and probably other things, I don't know. And 150 that came in a couple days ago, which I have used to improve things a little bit. Like I went up to Walmart and got some bread so that when night falls and I get hungry, I can eat some cinnamon toast. That's actually kind of a big deal. That sounds like something really minor until you realize my roommate has a really annoyingly sensitive fucking nose and that anything I cook at night to feed myself, including ramen, the smell of it will wake him up. For those who have never eaten ramen, it has almost no odor to it. And the odor it does have is basically, sniff, sniff. Oh, someone's making ramen. Okay. It's not an unpleasant smell, it's just a, hey, this is happening smell. And that has woken him the fuck up out of a dead sleep before. So, the problem, that wouldn't be a problem for most people, but I'm nocturnal, especially in my stomach. Which means, come nightfall, Kyrix wanders out to gather food for himself. So you can imagine why this is a bad thing for me. Anywho, so yeah, I went up, I bought myself some cinnamon toast, because that was a thing I needed in my life. And I kept most of it. So that's something. I have cinnamon toast. I bought a 2 liter of soda, so I had something to drink. I have the funds that, should I decide to do so, I can go down and get an actual drink. For me, an actual drink means, like, get a fountain drink, a 64-ounce soda, or, say, lemonade, or whatever the fuck else strikes my fancy at the time. Because I keep forgetting to most people, a real drink involves alcohol, which I don't do. If you do, that's you. I don't care, as long as you're not an asshole, I mean, if I had issues with alcohol, I could not live here, because my roommate drinks. He doesn't, or at least I don't think so. His girlfriend used to think so, but I don't think that he's the messy, asshole, sloppy kind of drunk, so I don't have problems with it. But anyway, I also specifically today, went to Walmart and got, first off, dog food, because I remembered, hey, while I'm here, dog needs food. She's running low. She'd love to eat cat food, but I don't want her to have to. But anyway, I got a dog bed for her. It's something I've been wanting to do for a while. She's only ever had hand-me-down beds. It's just a fact. She's only ever had that. And those hand-me-down beds, don't get me wrong, they were all almost new when she got them. Like the bed I bought for Vanilla, that Vanilla never fucking used, because she's the kind of dog who snuggles against people exclusively. She laid in it maybe 6 times, ever. And that happened back when me and her owner were getting along, and before we moved to the apartment, when we were still in the trailer, and I had my credit card. I'd just gotten it. And she's like, oh, I can't wait till I get some money. Vanilla needs a new bed. And I just grabbed a little $5 dealie and tossed it in the cart. I'm like, I got it, So technically, that was my property, But when she moved out of the apartment, she didn't take it with her. So I took it from Maya. And Maya loved it. I originally took it for the pets in general, and Maya's the one who loved it. Her second pet bed, which actually sits next to me, relatively, it's within like 3 feet of me, next to my dresser is the bed that the roommate's girlfriend had for Lightning, that he never used, because cats don't fucking lay in shit that you buy for them. Someone gives it to you, oh yeah, they'll lay in it all goddamn day, but if you buy it, no. They can smell the money on it, and it repulses them. Which is about as good a theory as any to explain why cats do that shit. It really kind of makes sense if you think about it. Anywho. On top of that, we have... there's a word for it. We got the pet bed. We got... I went up there. There were a bunch of pet beds, and only, like, one that was little that was a cat bed. And I asked the worker for help, and she happened to spot one on the top shelf that was like $5. I asked her where the nearest scanner was, because it had the price under it, and she went and took it, so thank you for that. And it was, a little $5, $6 bed, which is all I need to pay for a dog of her size. So for the first time since I got her, a bed that was bought for her is hers now. It's a small thing, but it matters to me. The fact that my dog has something that's hers. Not like her crate, which is hers, but was also used. I bought that thing at a thrift store. Alright, we're good people. We can have one of these, right? And it'll be right here next to this residential zone. Boop. And that'll do. That's my gift to the citizenry for the year. Get to have a sports stadium. And that'll do. Hopefully that, encourages people to move here. Anyway, I wish I could zoom out so I could see more shit. I probably can, but just like in the days of renting Super Nintendo games, this thing doesn't come with a fucking book. So anyway, got our dog bed. But that wasn't all I spent money on. I spent money on a lot of shit. Specifically, I am now the proud owner of every Ferengi ship ever made. Because when I was there at the tournament last week, I happened to comment to one of the kids and I say kid, he's probably in his late or mid to late teens. We're talking very late middle school to early to mid high school age. Very sheltered though. I get the feeling he has religious parents that haven't let him do anything up until the past 3 or 4 years. I could be wrong, but that's just the vibe he gives off. And, he gets along. But he and his friend, who was also new and had his first tournament last month, which he did rather well for a first tournament. He got a kill off me. And his friend took me to time, which never fucking happens. He also got a kill, by the way. So they both didn't get shut out by me, and one took me to time, which is rather impressive. Which means not only did he not get swept by me, I didn't get all his ships. He had a ship at the end of the game. Because I don't think I had a last-minute kill. Oh, there's a zoo. That's a thing I can install next year. Anyway, I happened to comment that I was missing a ship, the Kraton, and that it was like $100 ship. And one of the other guys, like $100. I think it was worth like 40. I'm like, dude, you got to remember when I was shopping for these things, nobody had it. So I had to guess based on what the other prizes were worth. And he happened to mention that, so I'm like, oh, there must be some on the market now, and there are. Back when I had my fucking credit card and could have gotten the damn thing, there were none. And believe me, back then the Ferengi were very attainable because they only had like 3 ships. I could have and would have gotten it. I would have justified the money and gotten it. Unlike, say, the Sutherland, which is one of many, many, many Federation ships, which wasn't even that good at the time, I wouldn't have justified that. I wouldn't have done the Azimur because I wasn't collecting Romulans, and I wouldn't have done the Chitang because I wasn't actively collecting Klingons. But to finish the Ferengi, you bet your ass I'd have bought the crate. But anyway. So I hop on eBay and I spot one for like, let's say $30. It's $31.50 after shipping, but let's say $30. And I, linked it to my desktop because I wanted to check that thing constantly, just in case it got sold, because it was just the one. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, if my money comes in before this is sold, I'm snagging it, and that will set me up real nice for, the shit that I want to do. And it came to pass that my money came in before it got sold, so yoink, mine now. And the other ones, by the way, if that had been sold, I would not have the Kraton, because the other ones were like 50 and up. So I would not have justified that kind of spending. It's just not a thing that I would have done. But it didn't get sold, so I bought it. So that's cool. That's a thing that now belongs to me. Yeah, I don't care. Yoink. Yoink. Okay, just loop around there. And at the start of the year, I shall finally enclose the stadium as well. Yeah. Anyway, so the Kraton's getting shipped to me. That makes every Ferengi ship ever. I have them all. Both shuttlecrafts, all 4 Marauders, 5 Marauders. 6 Marauders. 2 shuttles, 6 Marauders, and a bird of prey. Who the fuck knew that happened? But yeah, that's all the Ferengi ships. Plus I have the Deep Space Nine pack, which includes Quark and Odo and Vic Fontaine, who are independent, which is what faction the Ferengi are in now. But yeah, it's a small thing. And really, there's only one card in the Kraton that's worth a damn, but I have it now. It's a thing I now own. I possess it as a human being. And that should be there in a week. A little less. Probably next Wednesday, I think, is when it comes in. Allegedly. It's actually coming from Hawaii. And there were a couple other ships in the store that I thought about getting, like the Valjean, which was... it was Maquis, which I don't care for, but it's independent, which is now the faction that the Kazon, the Zindi, and the Ferengi are in. So independent just became a lot better to me because I can combine those ships with those people again. You know, like I can put fucking Quark as the captain of the Alpha Hunter if I so desire. I wouldn't because that would be a waste of the Alpha Hunter, but I could, you know. So now I have the drive to get a lot more independent ships because I can combine them with the Ferengi or the Kazon or the Zindi. Because that's the thing, the Kazon actually have pretty nice ships, but they have shitty character cards. They don't have good cards to put on them. But when you can take Zindi, Ferengi, and independent cards and put them on the Kazon ships, oh, you have something, my friend. Especially when you throw Quark on there to swipe something from another faction to put on there for cheap. So I have done that. I might actually, because I was trying to conserve some money, depending on, let's say come the 4th, because I'll have money of my own check, this, money that my mother's giving me, and I pool said resources together, see what I have, and maybe make a few small purchases on eBay of older ships, you know. Another thing I want to start doing is I want to start getting those big Ultra Pro collector's albums, which are these big black folders that come with 100 9-page things. And I say 9-page, I mean a page of 9 slots to put cards in. And you can do them front or back, so you can technically hold 1,800 cards. Well, you can actually hold more than that because they will slot in there together. But I'm saying if you do one in the front, one in the back, 1,800, you know. Naturally, I don't need quite that many. I have several of the folders, but a couple of them are used. And the Star Trek one has the... Here's the thing. They sell extra pages for those, but they aren't marked the same. So I'll have pages with this little strip on there, this little sticker that shows, hey, this came with Ultra Pro, and ones that don't have it, and it fucks with me. It's a stupid OCD thing. It pisses me off, but it's something I have to deal with. So I want to buy some new ones and start doing the sub-factions and shit. Like, I want to have one of the Ferengi, you know. I want to have, or I want one that's independent with the Ferengi. I want one that's the Federation with the Bajorans and the Vulcans. I want Klingon. I want Borg. I want, you know, fuck, what is it? Romulan, etc. I kind of wish that Species 8472 was folded into independent, as was their original plan. But the problem is it made them too goddamn broken. To suddenly have all these extra ships that you could put on there and all these extra characters that you could put on there that are just fucking broken. You know what I mean? And the reason I wish it was still independent is because now I need one of those mini albums to put all my fucking Undine ships in. Because they don't have a faction of their own. Or they have a faction of their own now, but no one else has, like, tiny sub-factions. Like, let me just... Because you're stuck with me and I'm stuck with you... fuck, I put them in the closet already. I'm about to say, let me dig out my card that shows me what all the factions are. But no, it's just like... I was telling a friend who's unfamiliar with the series, I'm like, take Federation, the Vulcans and the Bajorans are now part of the Federation. Zindi, Kazon, and Ferengi are now part of Independent. That is 7 factions that just became 2 out of what was like 15. Because there were those, there was Klingon, Romulan, Borg, Species 8472, and Mirror Universe. I might be missing one, but that is fucking 12 factions. Right there, 12. And 7 of those 12 became 2 factions, so... Well, actually, yeah, there was those. So we have Federation, Klingon, Romulan, Dominion, I forgot Dominion, so there's actually 13. Borg, Independent, Species 8472, and Mirror Universe, and Q Continuum, which isn't really a faction, let's be honest. So let's call that 9 factions. And I say Q isn't really a faction, because Q consists entirely of a single card pack, which I own, of 5 cards. It's a captain that's also an admiral, a crew that can be literally anything. It can also be like a tech, it can be a weapon, you know, it can be whatever you want it to be, and an elite talent. And that's it. That's all it is. and these 5 cards are considered omnifactional. In the faction list, they actually have absolute priority. For example, if I were to have a Q Continuum ship, I get initiative, period. It's just, if our captain ranks match, I get initiative. It's just how that works. Thing is, Q doesn't have a ship, it has characters. And that aforementioned weird character / elite talent as well. So, their initiative doesn't matter, because if there's no Q ship, there's no Q initiative, but they did it for the fuck of thing. I still want them to release John Delancey Q in his chair as a ship. I don't think they ever will, but that would amuse the hell out of me, quite frankly. Make me a very happy person. That was a sudden spike in a little bit of everything, wasn't it? So, in other news, the latest death battle happened today. Raven versus Twilight Sparkle. That is, Raven of the Teen Titans DC superheroes, and Twilight Sparkle of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. I will not spoil who won. I will say that I do not like the outcome, but I do agree with it. And before people use that to predict who I chose, know that I'm a fan of both series. So it's not like, oh, this didn't work his way because he likes this. No, I just kind of agree wholeheartedly with both series. And the person, or pony, either way, the character I was rooting for didn't win. And I completely accept that. This is just going to bother me. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so, on top of that, we had our tournament, our Pokemon tournament, that is the Kanto-only tournament. And I broke out some of the museum pieces, as it were. I logged into my Pokemon Blue, which is already post-game, in a good position to, get infinite rare candies, get infinite TMs, rare candy, special Pokemon up to whatever level I need them to get the right nature, and then to max them out from there. I sent over 3 Pokemon in particular. A Cubone, a Marowak, and a Kabutops. Cubone is because, well, I wanted to complete the Cubone Marowak set. It's much easier to get something that's already, in this case, level 87 to get the Adamant Nature. Much easier to import it at level 87 and get those last 13 levels by hand than it is to hatch one and get the IVs right and then fucking grind the fuck out of it to level 100. So I did that. Marowak, because it was on my team, and I actually had 2 Thick Clubs, which is Marowak and Cubone's character-specific item. If you give a Cubone or a Marowak Thick Club, it will double its attack. That's going to become important in a moment. And they're the only 3, because the Alolan Marowak does it too, the only 3 Pokemon that can use it and get any benefit from it. So, so yeah, I had 2 of them. I've since gotten a 3rd one, so both my Marowaks and my Cubone all have Thick Club. So they're done, And Kabutops was a case of, well, I haven't used my fossils. What's the fossil thing? Weak armor. Oh, that sounds... maybe I can find a build. And I found a build that uses it really well. Weak armor, for those who aren't in the Pokemon lingo, works like this. You, oh shit, I did that wrong. Oh well, it doesn't matter. Just gonna fuck with me forever. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna do this. Anyway, what weak armor does is if your Pokemon takes a physical hit, that's important, physical now, they will lose 1 stage of defense and gain 2 stages of speed. The idea being whatever kind of armoring they had just fucking shatters under the blow, which makes them faster. That's important. So the build works like this. You get Jolly, which is 10% boost to speed, 10% drop to special attack. And take this Jolly Kabutops and give him a move called Swords Dance. What Swords Dance does is you... God, I'm pulling in cash now, aren't I? Swords Dance buffs your attack 2 stages. And that's all, really. 2 stages of attack. And then you Swords Dance on turn 1, obviously. And then... No, not that. It's gonna fuck with me. So yeah, you Swords Dance on turn 1. They hopefully hit you physically. You respond with... oh, there's a word for it. Shit. I did a bad. Give me a moment here. Nope, sorry, you don't get to have this. Anyway, you Swords Dance, you hope that they hit you so that it buffs your speed, and then you proceed to fucking end them. You're thinking, Kyrix, but what if they hit you hard enough to kill you? Aha! Your item, Focus Sash, prevents that. As long as you're at full health, you cannot be one-shotted. So, the idea is, and almost exclusively this is what happened, they would just blast the fuck out of me in that first round, and then I just kind of cut loose. The Kabutops ended up being named Bui. For those who don't know, that was a character in Yu Yu Hakusho, part of Team Toguro, and his whole shtick is he wore this enormously heavy armor, and he would just create these axes out of thin air, and that's not doing it justice. The first axe he made was twice his height, and literally cracked the ring under his feet when it landed in his hand. So between his weight, the weight of himself, his armor, and that axe, he fucking broke stone. Just standing there. And in his battle with Hiei, he took the armor off. And Hiei made some kind of comment about, oh, you're feeling real cocky taking off your armor against me. And Bui's like, this armor isn't to protect you, or to protect me. This armor is to protect you from me. Because apparently when he takes his armor off, the armor is designed to weigh him down to make him slow enough that he can manage himself. And to hold his immense power in check. So it seemed appropriate that I name a Pokemon who gets faster when he takes his armor off after him. And I did. And it was cool. So, I ended up going, I want to say 6-0. Let's see. 5-0. 5-0. Only 6 of us showed up. I took it. We had a tie for second, then we had third and fourth. And anyway, I was pissed. I was pissed that this happened. Because I didn't think things through. We have a ranking system where we have this little chart up there that has, I want to say 40. I want to say 40 little circles. No, I think it is 20. Either way, let's say it's 20. 20 little circles on it. Originally, what would happen is whoever had the most of those little circles filled at the end of every month got a prize. But here's the rub. So many of us started just getting them full, like filling them out, that the stipulation now became whoever fills it out gets the prize right then and there for the month. So we had multiple prizes given out. And I completed mine the week before, which means that none of those matches meant a damn thing. And here's to make it even worse, because I was the one providing the prize, I literally got nothing out of this except the satisfaction of winning and some really good videos. There are videos saved that you can just save and upload to the internet of your battles, and that first round battle, oh boy, that was a thing. He took me to the goddamn limit, my first round opponent. We literally went blow for blow the entire match. Like, he started off with a couple kills, then I caught up to him, and then he fucking pushed me back again. It came down to 2 full-strength Pokemon and nothing else at the end. Unfortunately, those 2 full-strength Pokemon were my Hitmonlee and his Cloyster. People who know Pokemon knew that he never had a fucking chance. Now, if the Hitmonlee had been hurt first, maybe, but it hadn't. And it's an unburdened Hitmonlee, and I opened with Fake Out using a normal gem. So I basically got a free shot, and then doubled my speed on top of that. He never had a fucking chance. Especially since, like I said, the Fake Out hit first, so if he had had a Focus Sash, I just broke it. So, but that doesn't mean he didn't come within fucking spitting distance of winning that match, because he absolutely did. His last 2 Pokemon had been Gengar and Cloyster. I forgot what Cloyster was. I could not for the life of me remember what his final Pokemon was. But I did remember the Gengar. And I know, I'm sitting there like, okay, he hasn't used Gengar yet. There's a 50-50 shot that Gengar is next, because the battle before, I killed his Pokemon, and then the Life Orb, which eats some of your hit points to do more damage, killed my Pokemon. So we went into the next matchup, as it were, with 2 full-strength Pokemon thrown at the same time. So I couldn't scout what he was sending, and likewise. So I'm sitting here thinking, okay, there's a 50-50 shot he's going to send out Gengar. Just as, in terms of sheer odds, but I'm thinking, as a person, he's gonna send out Gengar. Because he knows I have Hitmonlee, and he knows that my Flareon, which is the other thing that's next, primarily relies on Facade, which is a move that, if you have a status ailment, does more damage. And the Flareon itself has an ability that says, if you're status, you do more damage in general. And he was holding a Toxic Orb. And he's heard me talk about the setup for this thing, and he's probably fought it before too. So he knows that the round 1 is going to be me protecting to set off my Toxic Orb to get status, and then just unleash. Well, Gengar would be immune to Facade because it's normal type, so I'd have to use Flare Blitz. So what this little bastard did was he opened up with Perish Song, which says, hey, in 3 rounds, if we're both still out here, we both die. And then he followed up with Destiny Bond, which says, if you kill me, I kill you. And I did. I did kill him. So I dropped. But if I had gone with my... If I hadn't gone with my gut and sent out Flareon, if I'd sent out Hitmonlee, he would have killed it. And then he'd have fucking Destiny Bonded my Flareon exactly like he did. And I would have lost. So, that came down primarily to me outthinking my opponent. And being right. So, that matters too. Anyway, so, we established that our next tournament will be Hoenn Pokemon, which kind of makes me mad because I've instituted a rule for these tournaments that says no Mega Stones, no Primal Reversions, no Z Crystals. I haven't actually said Primal Reversions, but only because it didn't occur to me. But it stands. And Hoenn region is where most of that shit happens. It's where both Primal Reversions happen, and it's most of the good Megas that are worth using come from Hoenn. Like, you have, well, just Megas in general, you've got Absol, you've got Salamence, you've got Blaziken, Swampert, Sceptile, Latias, Latios, Rayquaza, fucking Medicham, Sharpedo, Camerupt, Manectric. You know, that's just fucking off the top of my head, that's like 12 of them, you know? And there's more that I'm forgetting. So yeah, I think Hoenn has more Megas than any other region. I think Hoenn has more Megas than every other region. I could be wrong, and probably am, but that's what I'm coming up with. So yeah, my taxes are doing good. I think I'm just gonna sit and let my money go up this turn. Not this turn. I act like this is a fucking turn-based game. This year, I think I'm just gonna sit and let things happen. Save up for a little bit, get some new things. New things. The newest, in fact. But, yeah. Star Trek wasn't the only thing I spent money on this month. I actually spent money on something else. I've been playing the Pokemon card game online for a while, and one of the guys, the guy I had that amazing match with, by the way, same person, has been trying for a while to get me and a couple others into playing the card game as well. And I've been resisting it for many reasons, because I've played card games. Those things will eat your money. It's what they do. It's what they're designed to do, and they do it very well. And eventually, I succumbed. I decided, okay, but if I'm playing, I want to make my deck. And he's offered to make us all decks. Like, here, pick a couple Pokemon to base it around, and I will build you a deck. So what happened instead is he had me look through a couple of his Pokemon. I didn't find anything. I went on eBay and got the two biggies. Dawnwing Necrozma and Prism Star, whatever, Lunala. Which added up to about $10, I think. And had them shipped to me. They haven't gotten here yet. They probably won't until week after next. Maybe this week, I don't know. I don't think I'll have my deck until week after next. So then I get on ToyWiz, which is a site that sells cards and other things. And I'm looking at ToyWiz, and I'm making a build list of everything I need. And it came out to about like $32. And I didn't want to spend that kind of cash. So I'm like, oh, I'll wait and see what kind of money I've got next month. And I tell the guy, I'm like, here's all the things. Let me know if you have any of these. He managed to knock about $9 or $10 off of what my build list would have cost me. To be fair, a sizable portion of that, like $5 or $6 of it, was energy cards, which I knew I could just get for free, but I wanted, just in case, I wanted to just plop the money down. So he's going to be bringing in the cards he has for me next week. I ordered those, so within 2 weeks, tops, I will have my deck that I use online all the time. And it'll be nice. So yeah, it'll give me the option that if I want to, I can just play the card game a little bit. Because there are some times when I just run out of people to battle for actual battling purposes. So I can just whip out the deck. That actually happened this week. But that's not all the news we have. I actually still have to take some of this money today, and head up to Metro PCS. I was supposed to do it yesterday, but they didn't open till 9, and I completely fucking crashed at around 7:30, 8 o'clock. I just was out. I could not stay awake long enough. I have to go up there and get my phone fixed, because it drops calls and it fucking breaks up. And that's not good. And if they can fix that, that would be wonderful, but I want to have money, because my aunt's like, oh, they'll just fix it, and I'm like, I doubt they'll just fix it. So if they don't just fix it, I have a little bit of money. Well, I have enough money that if say, hypothetically, I thought it was worth it, I could buy the phone again. And quite frankly, if they're charging me more than the phone costs to fix something this integral, then I need a new company to begin with. I will fucking find a new phone company. Because that's bullshit. And anyway, there was a thing. Save-A-Lot nearby is hiring, and the roommate wanted me to go up today because they basically do job interviews on Wednesdays. He wanted me to go up today, and I didn't for a very good reason. I'll get to that in a minute. He said, oh, all you have to do is print out this thing online, fill it out, and take it in. Well, he can clutter things in his head. He's like our HeroClix judge in that regard. So I went up there to look at the flyer. What the flyer actually says is go to our website and make a job application. The only reason I've never applied to Save-A-Lot is because their website does not know this fucking store exists, and because it is impossible to do a search on that retarded site. I search for St. Pete, I get shit for Tarpon Springs. Like, I can't narrow it down to my zip code or my city without getting everything but the zip code and city that I asked for. I'm like, bitch, I could walk this laptop over there, connect via my phone, and do this application in the store, and you can't find it? You know? But B, the sheet of paper he thought they wanted to print up was not a sheet of paper, it's a resume, which I do not have. Now, I had a friend a while ago who offered to help me with a resume, and I tried getting a hold of him, and nothing. And then it occurred to me, I could ask my friend and his wife, and I sent her a text, because she's easier to get a hold of than he is, basically saying, hey, can you help me out and help me build a resume? Preferably before Wednesday. Because this was not a, oh, this Wednesday we're doing a thing. It's, on Wednesdays we do this thing. Which sounds good to me, you know. And she texted me while I was eating at McDonald's, which is another thing I did, because, quite frankly, when you have money, sometimes you have to treat yourself. And I haven't in quite a while, so I did. And I was like, why are you treating yourself to McDonald's? Because, quite frankly, the types of food I am willing to eat are pretty limited. And McDonald's isn't that bad, and it's cheap. It's something I can actually afford. So, fuck you, that's why. Basically, that's basically what that boils down to. And, she texted me basically saying, yeah, sure, have you had one before? You start from scratch. I'm like, starting from scratch. So, either today or tomorrow, she's going to get a hold of me, and we're going to get this ball rolling, hopefully. Because even if Save-A-Lot falls through, resumes are something that can help me in other jobs. You know, just having one might drastically improve my odds of getting work. And I would like to get work, because having no money sucks 1,000 dicks! And that's a lot of dicks to suck. So, wish me luck. I'm hoping to have a job this month. For many reasons. Not the least of which being the fact that the rent goes up next month. And while I can cover it, I don't want to. Because if I cover the rent without getting outside assistance with the money I have, then that's my fun Kyrix enjoys his life budget forever. You know, that's that month's extra budget. You know. And there are things that I'm not looking forward to that getting a job will bring. The loss of control of my schedule is foremost, you know. I've said to my friends, and I mean this, and they know I mean this, that basically, you have a choice. You can have a life or you can have a job. And quite frankly, the choice is no longer mine to make, so I have to get a job. Where the fuck's the train? Oh, there's the train. But the job also opens up other things, like the fact that I can finally get a new computer, a new desktop computer. My priorities when I get money are basically, you know, aside from setting aside money to pay off people I owe, priorities are thus. A, I'm getting a new hard drive. This is foremost. B, when I say hard drive, I mean external. B, I'm going to get a capture card for the 3 or 2DS. I don't care which. Because they play the same games, and quite frankly, I don't use the 3D. Whichever one's cheaper, I will get. And this will allow me, right out the fucking gate, to start recording 3DS Let's Plays. At which point I will get several games. I will get Bravely Second, I will get Super Mystery Dungeon, I will get Gates of Infinity, probably a couple other things. And I will start on my 3DS/2DS recording myself doing Pokemon Let's Plays and fucking Mystery Dungeon, Lost in Blue, fucking DB Fusions, the Bravely series, all that shit. I will do that. While I'm doing that, I will look into getting a new desktop computer. Which will probably take me about a year just to set aside for, because depending on what I make, I don't know. I might be holding on to my check the whole time during this by not making enough to invalidate it. And if that's the case, it will take less time because my check will cover all of my bills and this will be just Kyrix money. And if I'm setting aside about $500 to $600 of Kyrix money every month, You get the picture. You know, that adds up quick. But I will look into getting a high-end gaming machine with which to do high-end gaming. And when I do this, I will also be upgrading XSplit to a paid one so I can get, higher quality shit for when I'm doing the 3DS. Which, that's for all the computers. But there are numerous games that I own that I cannot play at all, and some that I can't Let's Play. Like, I can't play Cuphead at all. That's something Sammy got for me months ago, and I want to play it, but I can't. There's a couple games like Stardew Valley right now I can't Let's Play because, well, I can't do as This Week in Kyrix because my system just can't run it and the recording software. But yeah, that's a priority of mine, is getting a new high-end gaming machine. Then I will get 1 or 2 laptops for whatever reason, just so I have something to carry around with me. Like, I might get a small, not super high-tech laptop that I can start going to D&D and shit with it. It'll just hold all my PDFs and shit and character sheets. Like, oh, I'm going to play Advanced Dungeons & Dragons or 5th edition or whatever. And just open that fucker and there we are. So, I made another purchase. Recently, a long-time project has come to the stores. When I say long time, I had nothing to do with it, but it's been in development for 2 or 3 years now. Fans of My Little Pony may remember that years ago, we're talking like season 4 or 5, maybe even sooner, there was this group called Main 6 because back around the 2nd and 3rd season, the fans were making all sorts of fun shit. Like, there were ROM hacks and video games and all sorts of shit that they were just making of Pony. And a group called Main 6 got together and made a fighting game called Fighting is Magic. And the whole fandom was real excited about it. It was real popular looking. They had, like, Applejack was done, Rarity was done, and they had designs and shit for everyone else. They were getting voice actresses. They had themes going. Like, you could hop on YouTube, like, oh, here's Applejack's theme, kind of thing. And they were doing real good. And then they got a slot at, I think it's called EVO, which is apparently a really big fighting game convention/tournament. It's like the big deal. It's the fucking Super Bowl of fighting games, or at least that's what I've been led to believe. At which Hasbro's like, oh, god damn it. Hasbro basically said, okay, send out the cease and desist. Because Hasbro was aware of the game. They were letting it happen. Because it was just a bunch of fans fucking around, And the plan had been they were going to release it for free, etc. But it was just something the fandom had, and they were just fucking around with it. But when they went to EVO and got exposure there, suddenly, here's a Hasbro product about friendship and getting along and learning life lessons and all that shit. Suddenly, it's a fighting game. And they couldn't allow that association to be a thing. So they slapped out the C&D. And Fighting is Magic had to shut down. And everyone was mad, not necessarily at Hasbro, more at the legal system, basically saying, oh, this shouldn't have been a thing, and it shouldn't have been a thing. But really, the fact that they let it get as far as they did was kind of a big deal, when they could have shut it down the instant they heard about it, because they knew about it for a while. Like, you had people in Hasbro and people on the My Little Pony staff tweeting about it kind of shit. They knew it existed. But the story, obviously, didn't end there. Lauren Faust, who was... They credit her as the creator. Really, she was the person they tapped for it. They were going to make a My Little Pony Gen 4 anyway, and she happened to be the person they tapped to do it. So she didn't make it so much as she spearheaded it. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's still kind of a big deal. But the effective creator of the characters, let's go that way. She created the characters that we all know and love. And she, for obvious reasons, heard about this and said, this is stupid, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to join Main 6 as their new creative director / whatever, And she says, I'm going to create brand new original characters for these people, in the same vein as the characters I created before, that will be wholly owned by us and Main 6, etc. Hasbro can't touch them. Hasbro won't want to touch them, because Hasbro didn't want to necessarily do what they did. There are certain legal precedents that require them to do that kind of shit, you know? And so she created these original characters for what once was Fighting is Magic and became a game called Them's Fightin' Herds. Oh, there goes the boat. Anyway, so naturally, Them's Fightin' Herds went into development on its own. They reused a lot of the shit from the previous edition from Fighting is Magic. And then they expanded on it, because it wasn't done. It wasn't even close to done. They had like 3 characters that were fully playable out of potentially 6 or more. And while the game is enjoyable on its own, there is the simple fact in my head that I know what this was supposed to be, and the fact that it was kind of palette swapped at the end kind of detracts from it. But it came on sale recently, and I said, fuck it, I want to own this because my computer can handle it. So I bought it. And I'm having fun with it. Don't expect much out of it. Even when I get the better computer, don't necessarily expect amazing Let's Plays of it, because I'm not good at fighting games. I can play them, but I'm not one of those guys who knows all the combos and shit. Like, I watched a tournament of these guys, or at least a couple matches of it, and they're stringing together combos that I could never hope to pull off. For those of you wondering who my character that I play is, I play Paprika on there. I don't... When I say I play, that makes it sound like, oh, I'm her voice. No, I actively select her as my character, because when I was feeling them all out and trying them out, she's just fun. She's goofy, she's silly, she's adorable, and she's just fun to play. And I like the noises she makes when she's beating the shit out of people. And, quite frankly, that's important to me, that they make silly noises. But Paprika was originally Pinkie Pie, and believe me, when you play her, you can fucking tell. Like, if they reskinned her to be Pinkie Pie, you would not have an issue with it. You know, like, it's pretty obvious on sight who these characters are supposed to be. Because Paprika is this bouncy little thing. She just sits there. She's happy. She literally never stops smiling. When you knock her out, she has this derpy, happy expression on her face that makes it very clear that she has no idea what's going on. She's just happily unconscious kind of thing. You've got Palm, which is just adorable, but she shakes all the time, and she's got animals with her, so obviously she was Fluttershy. You've got this Unicorn, who has a spell book, who is obviously Twilight Sparkle. Get away from it, Rio. Get away from that door. And that would be Oleander. You've got Arizona, who is a cow, who is so obviously Applejack, and voiced by Tara Strong, by the way. That's fun. So yeah, it's a fun little game. Me and my friend played it, me and Jay, and I won, but don't take that to mean a goddamn thing, because neither one of us knew what the fuck we were doing. I actually had to crank it down to its easiest setting just to go through the arcade mode once, because I could not for the life of me beat Oleander, who was the first person they sent me against. She just wrecked my ass, is what she did. But it's a cute little game. Apparently there's going to be a DLC goat character that's in the works. The game, and I keep forgetting this, is still very much in the making. Like, there is a story mode that doesn't exist yet. There are other things on there that are like, hey, coming soon. And while I do like the fact that you can release games like this, it also, as a person, pisses me off. The idea that I paid money. I paid $15, which isn't a lot, but for me it is. But I mean, I paid $15 for a game that's not done yet. You know what I mean? It's just the principle of the thing. And we're gonna hit the pause button here, as it were. See, I mean, that's something that when I was a child would never happen. Like, I wouldn't go and get Super Mario Brothers 4, which, it does exist, by the way. It's technically Yoshi's Island, not Yoshi's Island, but Super Mario World. But anyway, I wouldn't pick up, say, Super Mario Brothers 4, and then have to get the expansion pack. I think the closest we ever came to that back in the cartridge days was Sonic and Knuckles. Because I hear that Sonic the Hedgehog 3 was going to be more than it turned out to be, so they made Sonic and Knuckles to expand upon it. Which also had the added perk of being able to put Sonic and Knuckles, attach Sonic 1 and 2 to it, and play as Knuckles in those games, which is kind of fucking cool. But, yeah, that's the closest we ever came, to the best of my knowledge. Anyway, we're going to call it here. I will see you next time, everyone. Bye-bye.